The Harper government's failure to get Canada elected to the Security Council seat was a diplomatic fiasco that brought Canada humiliation and shame on the world stage. As usual, the Harperites reacted by blaming everyone else for their misguided and failed policies. So far, the list includes Michael Ignatieff, the Europeans, Brazil, Venezuela, Cuba, Arab countries, Muslim countries, and the Canadian Arab Federation. Sensing that Canadians did not buy these hysterical accusations, Prime Minister Harper decided to switch gear and now says, with tongue-in-cheek, that his foreign policy is based not on popularity, but based on the promotion of our values, freedom, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, justice, development, humanitarian assistance for those who need it. Ironically, this is the same government that domestically has eroded the protection of free speech and has weakened, marginalized, and silenced Canadian democratic institutions and civil society organizations by cutting funding to numerous organizations that disagree with the government's policies and positions. A government that has barred British MP George Galloway last year from entering Canada, has continually violated the human rights of Mouammar, a Canadian child, and has undermined the Rights and Democracy Agency. On the international scene, the Harper government has undermined international law, international humanitarian law, and human rights and environmental principles by first refusing to sign the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, by reducing its foreign aid to Africa, by cutting its contribution to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency that assists 4.5 million Palestinian refugees who were dispossessed with the creation of Israel in 1948, by supporting Israel's invasion of Lebanon in 2006, by justifying Israel's ghastly assault on Gaza and the deadly Israeli raid on the humanitarian flotilla to Gaza in international waters, and by refusing to endorse the Kyoto Climate Change Accord. Shamefully, Mr. Harper repeatedly declares that Canada and Israel share the same values, when this country, Israel, has been found by various United Nations and international bodies and inquiries of violating the Geneva Convention by transferring 500,000 Jewish colonists into occupied East Jerusalem and the West Bank, and by erecting a separation wall inside that territory, by committing war crimes and crimes against humanity in occupied Gaza, by violating international law when it raided the Gaza-bound humanitarian flotilla in international waters, and by torturing prisoners. Most troubling, though, is that Mr. Harper has blindly aligned Canada with a country that defines itself as a Jewish state and whose citizenship, immigration, and land ownership laws discriminate against its Muslim and Christian citizens, who comprise 25% of the population. One wonders if Mr. Harper will next define Canada as a white Christian state. Many Canadians believe that the Harper government appears far more concerned with protecting Israel's interests than enhancing the traditional good reputation of Canada in the world, and he seems ready and willing to bring disrepute and isolation to Canada for the sake of such an outcast state, said Khaled Mouammar, Canadian Arab Federation National President. Toronto Star columnist James Travers best sums how the Harper government has betrayed Canadian values and tarnished Canada's reputation when he states, between quote, "The confluence of domestic politics, Christian fundamentalism, and foreign policy is now so strong that Israel's tail is wagging Canada's dog."